The phone rang at exactly 7:23 a.m. on a Tuesday, just 3 weeks before what was meant to be the happiest day of my life. I was in my small apartment, sipping coffee while going over quarterly reports for a Phoenix hospitality group, the $2.8 billion empire I had quietly built, and the empire my family knew nothing about. "Emma, we need to talk." My father's voice was clipped. "All business. Come to the house now." That tone meant trouble. He only used it when he was about to announce a family decision, the kind where everyone else had been consulted but me. 20 minutes later, I walked into the living room of my childhood home. My mother sat stiffly on the leather sofa, lips pressed thin. My father stood near the fireplace like he was hosting a board meeting. Jessica, my younger sister, lounged in the armchair, smirking at her phone the way she had since high school. "Sit down, Emma," my father ordered without even glancing at me. I stayed on my feet. "What's this about?" "Your wedding," my mother said, her voice cold. "We've made a decision." My heart pounded, though I kept my face neutral. "What kind of decision?" "We're not paying for this circus anymore," Dad declared, finally facing me. His jaw was tight, arms crossed. $75,000 for one day. It's outrageous. The venue, the flowers, the photographer, all of it. We agreed on a budget months ago. I said quietly. Jessica finally looked up. "Yeah, well, that was before we realized how much money you were wasting on dumb things." "Like what?" I asked. "Like the dress," Mom snapped. $4,000 for something you'll wear once. And the centerpieces. Crystal and gold leaf. Who needs that? I steadied my voice. "I've been planning this for 8 months. Marcus and I?" Marcus's dad cut in with a sneer. "That's another issue. He works at a nonprofit." "What kind of future is that?" "No ambition, no real income. He's a good man," I said firmly. "Good doesn't pay the bills," Mom countered. "Maybe this is a sign you should reconsider. You want me to call off my wedding?" My chest tightened. "We want you to be realistic," Dad said. "Find someone with prospects. Someone who can actually support the lifestyle you expect." Jessica snorted. "Yeah, because living in a shoebox apartment and driving a 10-year-old Honda screams high lifestyle." The room went still. I looked at them. Dad's harsh disapproval, Mom's judgment, Jessica's smug amusement. These were the people who raised me, who were supposed to love me. And here they were dismantling my wedding like it was a failed investment. "What are you saying?" I asked. Dad pulled out a folder. "I've already canceled the venue. The deposits are gone, but at least we're not wasting the rest." "You canceled my wedding venue." My voice cracked. "Our names were on the contracts," Mom said matter-of-factly. "We had every legal right. And the caterer, the florist, the photographer," Jessica added, almost gleeful. I stared at them. "You canceled my entire wedding without telling me." "We're telling you now," Dad replied. "Consider it a favor. You'll thank us later, once you find someone more suitable." The world tilted. Months of planning, the dress I'd fallen in love with, the menu Marcus and I had spent hours perfecting, the flowers that reminded me of my grandmother's garden, all gone. "I can't believe you did this," I whispered. "Believe it," Dad said flatly. "Next time, don't plan something beyond your means." I studied them one last time. Dad, the banker who thrived on risks. Mom, who'd perfected condescension for 3 decades. Jessica, who had never worked a single day but always judged. "Understood," I said simply. The words stunned them. They expected tears, begging, outrage. Instead, I gave nothing. "Good," Dad said, satisfied. "Now you can focus on finding someone more appropriate. Someone who won't embarrass the family." Mom added. I turned toward the door. "Emma," Jessica called. "Don't be dramatic. This is for your own good." I paused, hand on the knob. "I'm not being dramatic. I'm being practical." Then I walked out. The drive home felt surreal. I was 23, with an MBA from Northwestern, secretly running a $2.8 billion hospitality empire, and my parents had just canceled my wedding because they thought I couldn't afford it. The irony was almost laughable. They didn't know I owned Phoenix Hospitality Group. K? That I'd built it from nothing after selling a tech startup I created in college for $12 million. They didn't know the struggling graduate they pitied owned 17 luxury venues, crossed 3 states, including the Grandin estate, the very venue where I'd planned my wedding. But now, they had crossed a line. When I pulled into my apartment, Marcus's text lit up my phone. "Hey, love. Just confirmed the head count with the caterer minus 127 guests. Can't wait to marry you in 3 weeks." My heart ached. He had no idea what had just happened. No idea my family had detonated our wedding. Not yet, first. I had calls to make. Pull the Grandin contracts. I instructed my assistant. The Grandin estate. Your wedding venue. Yes, and review the cancellation clauses. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. Just need to confirm our protections. Then I rang David, my head of legal. If someone cancels a venue booking with forged authorization, what's our recourse? That's fraud, he said immediately. Criminal charges plus civil damages. Why do you ask? Just research it. Send me the statutes. After hanging up, I allowed myself 60 seconds, no more, to feel it all. The betrayal. The humiliation. The cruelty of people who were supposed to love me. Then I stood, wiped my face, and began planning my response. The very next morning, my father called, shouting before I could even greet him. "What the hell, Emma? The venue says the owner personally blocked our refund. They said you canceled it." I sipped my coffee.com. That's interesting. Interesting. "Emma, this is $7,500 we're talking about." And the owner said, "What exactly?" They said under no circumstances would the Martinez family receive a refund. Don't me. What did you do? Did you call them and complain? Did you some kind of scene? I didn't cause any scene, Dad. Then why are they saying this? The venue manager kept talking about direct orders from ownership and non-negotiable policies. And Emma, what the hell did you tell them? I leaned back in my chair. Through my office window, I could see the Grandin estate in the distance. Elegant grounds sprawling across 40 acres of pristine lakefront property. I didn't tell them anything they didn't already know, I said. That's not an answer, Emma. You need to fix this right now. Call them back and straighten this out. I don't think I can do that. What do you mean you can't? The owner's decision is final. There was a long pause. Emma, how do you know what the owner decided? Lucky guess. This isn't funny. We need that money back. Do you have any idea how much $7,500 is? I almost laughed. Dad was having a breakdown over $7,500 while sitting 3 meters away from my corporate headquarters. Where? I'd signed a $340 million acquisition deal just last week. It's probably not that much money to the owner, I said. I imagine they make that in about 6 minutes. Emma, what are you talking about? How could you possibly know? His voice cut off abruptly. Dad, you still there? Emma, his voice had changed quieter now, uncertain. Emma, what's the name of the company that owns the Grand Estate? Why do you ask? Just tell me. Phoenix Hospitality Group. Silence. Dad, Emma, what's your last name? Legally, it's still Martinez. But professionally, I go by Emma Phoenix. The phone was so quiet, I thought he'd hung up. Dad, are you Emma Phoenix? You're Emma Phoenix. That's right. The Emma Phoenix, the one who owns Hubilto? My God. Oh my God, I heard him calling to Mom in the background. Margaret, get in here right now. What's wrong, Richard? Mom's voice was distant but audible. Emma Phoenix. What are you talking about? Emma Phoenix, the businesswoman. The one who bought the Riverside Mall? The one who owns half the venues in the city. That's our Emma. I heard Mom gasp. Emma. Dad's voice was back, shaky now. Emma, sweetheart. There's been a misunderstanding, has there? Yes, a huge misunderstanding. We had no idea you were so successful. Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. But Emma, we assumed. You assumed I was a failure. Not a failure. Just struggling like most people your age. Most people my age don't own $2.8 billion in real estate assets. I heard something crash in the background. Probably Mom fainting. Emma listened to me very carefully. Dad's voice had shifted into his business mode. We can fix this. We can call the venue back in the venue you already canceled. Yes, we can uncank it. We can reinstate everything. The whole wedding with what money? What do you mean? Well, you said you couldn't afford it. That it was beyond your means. That I needed to find someone who could afford me. Emma, that was before we knew. Before you knew I could pay for it myself. Yes, exactly. I stood up and walked to my window. Down below, I could see the Grandin Estates event coordinator setting up for a corporate retreat, my corporate retreat. Dad, let me ask you something. If I were still just regular Emma, living in my apartment and driving my old Honda, would you have reconsidered? Pause. Would you have called me this morning and said, "You know what, Emma? We were wrong. We love you and want you to be happy regardless of money." Longer pause. Emma, would you have apologized for humiliating me in front of Mom and Jessica? For canceling the most important day of my life without even discussing it with me first? Emma, please. The answer is no, Dad. You would have let me stay heartbroken and weddingless. And you would have felt good about it, responsible. Like you taught me a valuable lesson about living within my means. That's not what we were trying to help. You were trying to control me, just like you've always done. I heard Mom's voice in the background. Give me the phone. Emma, honey, it's Mom. Sweetheart, there's been a terrible miscommunication here. Has there? Yes. We had no idea about your business success. We're so proud of you. Are you proud of the business or proud of the money? Both, Emma. You're our daughter. We've always been proud. Yesterday, you told me to find someone who could afford me. What changed? Well, now we know that Ty can afford myself. Silence. Mom, let me save you some time. I'm not reinstating the wedding. I'm not giving you your deposits back. And I'm not pretending this conversation never happened. Emma, you're being unreasonable. I'm being exactly as reasonable as you were yesterday. I heard Jessica's voice in the background. Is she serious? She's actually not giving us the money back? Put Jessica on the phone. I said, Emma, I don't think put her on. Fine. Here's Jessica. Hey, Emma. Jessica's voice was carefully neutral. So, this is weird. Hi, Jess. I had no idea you were... And the owner said, what, exactly? Like, rich, rich, rich. I'm comfortable. Comfortable, Emma? You own half the city. Not half, maybe 30%? This is insane. Why didn't you ever say anything? Would it have mattered? What do you mean? Yesterday you recorded my fiancé throwing my keys in a lake and posted it on social media. You called my wedding plans stupid and said I was wasting money on excessive things. Would you have done that if you'd known I was wealthy? Well, no, probably not. So you're only nice to people who have money. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant, Jess. You treated me like garbage because you thought I was poor. Now you want to be best friends because you found out I'm rich. Emma, come on. How many social media posts did you make mocking my cheap lifestyle? Pause. Emma, how many times did you joke about my car, my apartment, my job? That was just sister stuff. Put Dad back on. Emma, wait. Put him on, Dad's voice returned, subdued now. Emma, we need to talk about this face to face. No, we don't. Yes, we do, your family. This is family business. Family doesn't cancel each other's weddings out of spite. It wasn't spite. We genuinely thought. You thought wrong about everything. I heard him take a deep breath. Emma, what do you want? What will it take to fix this? There's nothing to fix, Dad. You made your position clear. I'm just respecting it. Our position was based on incomplete information. Your decision was based on the assumption that I was worthless. Now that you know I'm not, you want to change the rules. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Having your parents cancel your wedding because they think you're not good enough for their standards. Emma, please. I have to go. I have a board meeting, Emma. Wait. What about Marcus? What about your wedding? I smiled. What about it? Are you still getting married? Of course. Where? Same place, same date, same time. But how can you? We canceled everything. You canceled the booking that was in your name. You never had any authority over the booking in mine. Silence. There are 2 contracts for the Grand Estate on September 15th, I explained. The one you signed as the paying party and the one I signed as the property owner. You canceled yours. Mine is still active. You mean my wedding is happening exactly as planned. The only difference is that you're not invited, Emma, and neither is Mom or Jessica. You can't uninvite your family from your wedding. Watch me. I hung up. My phone immediately started ringing again. I turned it off. An hour later, Sarah knocked on my office door. Emma, there are some people here to see you. They say they're your family. I looked up from my laptop. Tell security to escort them off the property. Are you sure? Positive. 20 minutes after that, my personal phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Babe, your dad just called me. He's very upset. He says there's been some kind of family emergency about the wedding. Should I be worried? I called him immediately. Marcus. Hi, Emma. What's going on? Your dad sounded like he was having a breakdown. It's a long story. Can you come over tonight? I need to tell you something. Of course. Are you okay? I'm better than okay. I'll explain everything. That evening, I told Marcus the whole story about Phoenix Hospitality Group, about the $2.8 billion empire I'd built in secret, about my family's betrayal and their frantic attempts to backtrack once they learned the truth. He listened without interrupting, his expressions cycling through confusion, amazement, and finally anger. They canceled our wedding because they thought you were poor, he said finally. Essentially, yes. And now they want back in because they found out you're wealthy. That's the general idea. He shook his head. Emma, that's horrible. I'm sorry I never told you about the business. I wanted to be sure you loved me for me, not for what I could provide. Are you kidding? I'm not upset about the money. I'm upset about how they treated you. He took my hands. Emma, you're getting married in 3 weeks. You should have your family there. They made their choice. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, Marcus. This was who they really are when they think no one important is watching. He was quiet for a moment. What do you want to do? I want to marry you at the Grand Monte, surrounded by people who actually care about us. I want to start our life together without the toxic influence of people who only value me when I can benefit them. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. To paraphrase, different wording. Don't interrupt me, my father barked. What did you do? Did you call and complain? 'Cause his scene? I didn't make a scene, Dad, I said. Then why are they saying that? The venue manager insisted the owner's orders were final and non-negotiable. Emma, what did you tell them? He demanded. I leaned back and looked at the Grandin estate from my office window, 40 acres of immaculate lakefront grounds. I didn't tell them anything new, I replied. That's not an answer. Fix it. Call them and straighten this out. I don't think I can, I said. What do you mean you can't? The owner's decision is final. Long silence. Emma, how do you know what the owner decided? Lucky guess. His tone shifted to panic. We need that money back. Do you know how much $7,500 is? I almost laughed. He was losing it over $7,000 while I sat 3 meters from the office, where I just closed a $340 million deal. It's not much to them, I said. They probably earned that in 6 minutes. His line went silent, then came back quieter and uncertain. What's the company that owns the Grand Estate? I told him Phoenix Hospitality Group. Then his questions accelerated. What's your last name? Legally, Martinez. Professionally, I go by Emma Phoenix. The quiet on the other end became stunned disbelief. My father called for my mother. Emma Phoenix, the one who bought the Riverside Mall, who owns half the city's venues, is our Emma. My mother gasped. Suddenly, they were shocked and apologetic. We had no idea you'd done so well. Why didn't you tell us? They asked. You never asked, I said. You assumed I was failing. Not failing, just struggling, he protested. Most people your age don't own $2.8 billion in assets, I shot back. A crash on their end, probably my mother fainting. Dad switched to business mode. We can fix this. Call the venue back. Reinstate the wedding. With what money? I reminded him they'd previously said I couldn't afford it and advised me to find someone who could. That was before we knew, he stammered. Before you? Knew I could pay my own way? I asked. Yes. He admitted. I asked a pointed question. If I'd still been the same struggling woman in a small apartment with an old Honda. Would they have called this morning to say they loved me, regardless of money? The silence said it all. They had humiliated me, canceled my wedding without consulting me, and felt justified. We were trying to help, they insisted. You were trying to control me, I answered. My mother tried to charm. Then flipped to pride, then to possessions. Are we proud of the business or the money? Both, she said. I cut through them. I'm not reinstating the wedding. I'm not returning deposits. This conversation didn't just vanish. My cousin Jessica appeared on the line, her voice neutral. Then incredulous, "You're rich?" "Comfortable," I said. "You own half the city." "Maybe 30%, I corrected. She accused me of publicly shaming her fiancé and mocking their cheap lifestyle. "Would you have done that if I'd been wealthy?" I asked. "Probably not," she admitted. "So you're only kind to people who have money." I confronted her. She called it sister stuff. I asked to speak with Dad again. He wanted a face-to-face meeting, family business, but I wouldn't play along. "There's nothing to fix," I said. You made your stance clear. I'm respecting it. They'd based their choice on the belief I was worthless. Once that belief collapsed, they expected new rules. "That's not fair," they protested. I pointed out what was unfair, canceling my wedding because I didn't meet their standards. When they pleaded, I told them the truth. The wedding would go on. Same place. Same date, because there were 2 contracts for the grand estate on September 15th. They'd canceled the booking made under their name. I still held the owner's contract. Their reaction was stunned. "You're uninviting us?" "Watch me," I said, and hung up. Security escorted my family off the property when they arrived uninvited. Marcus texted in, alarmed Dad had called him frantic. That night, I told Marcus everything. Phoenix Hospitality Group. The $2.8 billion portfolio I'd quietly built. My family's betrayal and frantic attempts to reclaim access once they realized my worth. He listened, first confused, then amazed, then furious. "They canceled our wedding because they thought you were poor," he said. "And now they want back in because you're wealthy." He squeezed my hands. "You're marrying in 3 weeks. You should have family there." "They chose not to be part of it," I said. This was who they really are when no one important is watching. He asked what I wanted. I told him to marry him at the Grand Monte, surrounded by people who truly care, starting our life away from anyone who values me only for what I can give them. "Are you sure?" he asked. "I've never been more sure," I answered. That morning, I composed a formal letter addressed to my family and had it delivered by courier precisely at 9 a.m. ***. Dear Dad, Mom, and Jessica, thank you for making your opinions about my life choices and my worth within this family so clear. By canceling my wedding without even consulting me, you spared me the burden of ever questioning whether you supported my happiness or merely tolerated it when convenient. This letter serves as formal notice. You are no longer welcome at my wedding or at any future milestones in my life. The decision is final and not open to debate. For the record, I founded Phoenix Hospitality Group from the ground up while living in the cramped apartment. You mocked. I poured 18-hour days into that company for 4 years, creating something substantial, while you dismissed me as someone who simply failed to meet your standards. The fact that you now seek to celebrate my success after attempting to destroy my happiness reveals everything. I need to know about your character. Marcus and I will be married on September 15th as planned. Our life will be built alongside people who prize integrity over wealth and love over appearances. I wish you well in your own endeavors. Sincerely, Emma Phoenix, co-founder. Phoenix Hospitality Group. ***, the wedding itself was flawless. Marcus and I exchanged vows on a lakeside terrace before 127 guests who truly cared about our future. Sarah, my college roommate, stood proudly as maid of honor, while Marcus's brother Jake served as best man. The flowers, white roses, and sprigs of baby's breath were exactly what I had imagined, evoking memories of my grandmother's garden that evening. Beneath strings of light draped between ancient oak trees, Marcus and I danced together. For the first time in years, away from my family's shadows, I felt something pure and unshaken, uncomplicated joy. My phone, tucked away in the bridal suite, displayed 47 missed calls and 23 voicemails from family members. I erased them all without pressing play. 6 months later, a formal apology arrived from my father. 3 pages long, it praised my business acumen 14 separate times before requesting a meeting to repair our relationship. I replied with a single line: "Some bridges once burned cannot be rebuilt." A year after that, Kat contacted me through LinkedIn. She inquired about entry-level marketing positions at Phoenix Hospitality Group, attaching her resume and a lengthy explanation about how much she had grown and how deeply she regretted not appreciating my achievements earlier. I forwarded the message to HR with one note: file under "Do not hire today." Marcus and I live in a beautiful home overlooking the lake, just 10 minutes from the Grand Montade. We host dinners for friends who knew us back when I was simply a girl with a laptop and he was working in the nonprofit world before the empire. Before the titles, on occasion, I pass my parents' house on the way to business meetings. Their cars look older now, the lawn less immaculate. Mutual acquaintances tell me Dad's investment firm has faltered since the downturn, and Mom has taken part-time work in a boutique. I feel no triumph in their misfortunes, but neither do I feel guilt over their absence from my life. They taught me something priceless. Love that comes with conditions is not love at all. True love does not measure bank balances, career status, or someone else's definition of worth. They called my wedding a circus. In truth, it was radianta, joyful celebration of two people who chose each other without conditions. And every cent of it was paid for by me. Asterisk, asterisk.